Hello guys, welcome back to the comeback episode 4. Wow. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this might be getting put out a day later than I initially proposed. I'll be honest, I feel like honesty is the best policy here. That's how this relationship should work. I felt like shit yesterday. And anyone who's been in prep will know that there becomes a point where you feel as though you're on prep. You get all those familiar feelings come back, you know. And hi horsey. Hello. How? Be nice. Be nice. He's bigger than you. Yeah, so I definitely reached that point yesterday in prep where I didn't feel great. I put a lot of it down to the increase in fat burners that I'm currently using. Well, I don't really like to call them fat burners because nothing really burns fat. You need a calorie deficit. The tools which will aid and free up fatty acids. So basically the main one being your himbine. Your himbine is basically an alpha-2 antagonist, and what it's going to do is it's going to help with the metabolic pathway of binding body fat. So it's going to help to free up those fatty acids. So if we think of it like a catalyst for burning fat, still need to ensure that we're expending more than we're putting down our food pipe, shoveling in. So we recently increased that. I won't go into dosages because we don't need to talk about dosages on here, but we recently doubled it. What your himbine's also going to do is it's going to heat up our body temperature, our core temperature, and it's going to make it a lot harder to shift into PNS. It's going to keep sympathetic drive quite present. Now this can make it very, very difficult to sleep. I'm going to change arms. This is hurting my arm. Now this can make it very, very difficult to sleep. So the last few days, my sleep has been very, very poor. This has wiped me out, to be honest with you. Now, spoke to Cal, we've changed a few things with my pre-bed routine, added a couple of supplements, which I'll talk you through. But sleep last night was much better. And obviously I track everything with the Oura Ring, which is fantastic. I don't have a discount code. And we can see that deep sleep from the night before to tonight has actually increased by about double, which is good. That's what we was missing, it was the deep sleep. So, however, thought I'd do like a little prep update on this one because I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna take you through my check-in, so we'll have a look at that shortly. But firstly, so far, well, starting weight was 103 kilos. Now sat at, I was 93.5 kilos this morning. Nearly a 10 kilo drop in the first 7 weeks. So we've pulled off around about 21 pounds, 22 pounds, which is good. And to be honest with you, I was looking at myself the other day and thinking, you know, I thought 22 pounds off would look a lot different than this. But then I put the pictures together. And this is why it's important to put pictures together, guys, because as you can see, there's quite significant changes. And it's not until you look back, it's not until I look back personally that I realise how much I actually push body weight. Well, obviously, if you pull off 21 pounds of body fat and water, you know, that's going to leave you feeling a shit ton better. And what I've noticed over the first kind of 6-7 weeks is I felt better, and just introducing cardio, getting the aerobic system working again, I feel fitter. I'm not so out of breath when I'm walking. I mean, I'm still a little bit out of breath now, but my cardio is getting better. I can feel the aerobic system is improving. That's translating to training. Training's been fantastic, and what we've actually found the last kind of 3 and a bit weeks is weight has actually stayed at around 94 kilos. Now the reason for that is because training performance actually has improved quite significantly over the last few weeks because I'm fitter, I feel better, I'm sleeping better. Sleep is, apart from the last few days, sleep has been fantastic. And that's just because the body's not as compromised, you know, we're eating better foods, we're in a calorie deficit, we're pulling body fat down. When the body's not as compromised, it's not as stressed, it's gonna sleep better, you know. I've stopped snoring, which I'm sure Kirsty's pleased about. So we've been in a spot right now where the body's still recomping. You know, I'm accruing tissue whilst pulling body fat down. And even over the last few weeks, scale weight hasn't changed significantly. You know, we've seen the look dramatically change. Comparing images, I'm checking in with Cal every few days, and we're seeing some really, really cool changes. So we're not rushing to get scale weight down. We've still got 14 weeks yesterday, but we are obviously looking to get consistent fat loss. So we've made some minor adjustments. Food came down yesterday. So food is now sat at 3,300 on training days and 2,200 on rest days. Those rest days are a little bit harder. I had my first one yesterday. It was tough, you know. Appetite's there. I'm not in a position where it's taken over my entire day, but I am starting to notice I'm getting a little bit of a shorter temperament, and I'm getting a little bit hangry. So, you know, we can stay in this place at the moment with training still progressing nicely, body fat coming down, not having to push anything too aggressively. And at the moment, the body's still responding. So it's not drastic changes, it's just a few little tweaks here and there. Welcome to the office. That was a bit cheesy, wasn't it? So we are in the office. I keep saying we. I am in the office. You may see behind me the latest addition. We have art. We have art now. So this is Kruger. Say hello to Kruger. It's our first piece of art. Now, I put him on the Instagram a couple of days ago and a few people have been asking where we got him from. We got him from Castle Art in Cambridge. There's Castle Arts everywhere, but obviously our local one being Cambridge. And it's a fantastic piece. And when we first went in there and saw it, we instantly fell in love with him. He's from an artist called Robert Oxley. We was actually inspired by the artist himself because my dad actually has a painting from the same guy, and we saw it when we went around his and thought, that's a cool painting. So yeah, you can tell all of this guy's artwork because he does animals. He specializes in animals, and he does like the little, you can see like the little drippy paint. So if you see any of those with like the drippy paint, that's Robert Oxley. Anyway, back to bodybuilding. So I just wanted to show you guys the setup. So basically what I've looked to do is I've got the this is raised, and this just means that I'm not like looking down, because I was finding I was getting a real stiff neck. And then obviously the keyboard now, instead of sitting like this, and then the mouse, because I was getting like a lot of forearm pains. A lot of the time, you know, I get clients, I get individuals speak to me about like pains they get in and things like that. And you've got to think about what you do on a day-to-day basis, the positions that you put your body in. So for me, I was looking down a lot on my laptop screen, you know, 8, 9, 10 hours a day working in a laptop. And I was getting a lot of scapular pain, a lot of neck pain. So I've elevated the screen. And then as a byproduct of that, I was then in this position typing because the keyboard was up here. So I was getting a lot of forearm pain and issues with my training. So now we've got the keyboard and the mouse, so I can just sit and look forward. And I'm actually going to replace this and get a new laptop and just get a screen like similar to like what Kirsty's got, so I can just sit here and actually use it as a desktop. But then similarly, I can then just take the laptop wherever I go if I want to work downstairs. Or typically I will usually just sit in the office. So check-in this morning. Well, it was actually yesterday I sent a check-in with Carl, and I'm going to put it all up on screen now, talk you through it, tell you what I'm thinking, and you can have a look. You can tell me what you're thinking, and we can decide what we're thinking together. Okay, so my front shot here, I would say this is always the quickest to come in. So you can see the midsection's already starting to tighten up. Happy with some of the lines coming in on the legs. I actually quite like this shot, to be honest. You know, with the vacuum now, I'm actually able to pull a vacuum again. I think this can be a pretty good shot. I just want to make sure that I keep that upper body fullness, because this is the first thing that this is one of the first things that will deteriorate, because it's, you know, some of the newest muscle. The side chest is a shot for me which is very hard when body fat's higher, but as some details starting to come in, we're starting to see a little bit of fullness in the chest and the arm. Now the rear shot I haven't really posted much of anywhere at all, because it's still pretty fat, to be honest with you. But when that waist starts to come in, I do think it's going to be a half decent shot. I do struggle a little bit with flare in my lats, which you might see, and a lot of that I think is just down to being very tight in that rear capsule of the shoulder. So that's something I need to work on. This side shot is starting to come in as we're getting more detail. It is looking a bit better, and the side tricep is just a really awkward shot for me. I think when I get tighter, when I get leaner, I'll be able to get into that position a little bit better. So do bear with me. It's not a shot that I like at the moment. This is a shot. This shot's pretty cool. You know, I don't mind this. I think as I start to get leaner, that could be pretty decent. I mean, at this point in time, we're starting to slowly see some shapes and lines come together. I certainly wouldn't say I feel lean yet. I don't. I still feel quite a long way off. But listen, we're 14 weeks out, so we've got plenty of changes that we can make, plenty of tools to utilise. But yeah, that's the physique at the moment. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done. I'm under no illusion, but we're starting to see some of the shapes take place. You know, me and Carl, we're pretty happy. So So guys, let's talk a little bit about sleep. Now, those of you, firstly, the last video cut me off. Well, it didn't cut me off. It ran out of battery. I'm not, you see these pros who like the battery runs out and they just put a new one in, put the spare one. I'm not pro yet, I'm still an amateur. So when it runs out, I had to charge it. Anyway, long story short, with the Physique, we're in a good spot. Starting to see some shape come through. There's still plenty of fat to pull off. When you get to this stage, it can be very, very tempting to try and speed things up and chase condition, but ultimately we're still in a nice little cushion at the moment where training performance is improving. We're still in with a great chance of putting some more tissue down throughout the early stages of this prep. And we don't want to lose that. It can be very tempting to chase condition, chase scale weight to come down, but we're in a great spot. We're certainly not ahead of the game, but we're not behind. We're exactly where we need to be. Anyway, sleep. So those of you who follow me on Instagram already will know that I talk about this quite a lot. And those of you who are clients of mine who might be watching this, you'll probably be bored of me talking about it. But sleep is something which is very, very underrated in the pursuit of physique development, whether that be dieting, whether that be gaining. And to be completely transparent with you guys, it's something that I didn't really take seriously myself for a lot of years in my earlier years of training. Obviously I slept, but it was one of the 3 pillars of training. You've got your training, nutrition and recovery. The recovery part was something that I didn't really pay too much attention to, and to be honest, a lot of people don't. Once I started actually taking care of my recovery, obviously a huge part of recovery being sleep, I noticed that my results just soared tenfold. I would actually have better quality training sessions, I would recover better, my strength progressions were better, and in terms of workload and being able to focus and be productive, that just soared as well. So in terms of sleep, what can we do to improve it? So firstly, you'll see this is my bed. Now the bed is one of the most important things, and I know that sounds really obvious, but you'll be amazed the amount of people who I speak to who talk to me about their sleep, and we try and improve it, and I ask them, what's your bed like? What's your bedroom setup? And the bed's just not sufficient to do the job. And what we found is that we was on a king size bed for a long time. And throughout last year, it was quite funny actually. I was saying to Kirst, you're taking up more and more room in this bed. You need to get over your own side. And she was like, you've gained 70 pounds, you're just expanding. So we actually had to go to Dreams and get a new bed. It was quite an investment. So we've got a temper bed, and it is a super king. So it's the biggest size you can get without going into custom made. And it is a pretty decent sized bed. A lot of the time, even if you're having 7-8 hours, are you reaching those deep stages of sleep? Are you actually reaching the REM sleep, stages 3 and 4, deep sleep, which is what we need to recover. We need all of the stages of sleep, but specifically we need those deep stages and that REM. If you're tossing and turning, or if your partner's tossing and turning, you may not even realize that that's actually waking you up throughout the night without you even realizing. So if you ever wake up in the morning and you've had your 7-8 hours, but you feel as though you've not even been asleep, there's a good chance that you're not getting your deep sleep, you're not getting your REM sleep. So I'm not going to talk too much about the actual mattress in the bed itself. Go to Dreams or a similar place like that. You do that really awkward thing when you lay on the bed and you're like, yeah, this feels nice, but actually lay on the bed. That's what they're there for. They'll take you through what's the best mattress for you. Now, your pre-bed routine is going to be absolutely pivotal. Now, one of the #1 things which is going to hammer your sleep is stress. Now, we all have stress. Everyone has their own stress, whether it's lifestyle, relationship, work, etc. Everyone has their own stresses in life. But having yourself a cut-off point and being able to relax and remove yourself from that stress. So for me, I will cut myself off at 8 p.m. It's usually 9 p.m, but I actually cut myself off in prep at 8 p.m. So I give myself a couple of hours in the evening where I can relax, unwind. The laptop's down, I'm not thinking about work. Typically I will leave the phone in the drawer or on the side so I can just relax. What else can we do in that evening routine other than relaxing and unwinding? One of the most important things, and this is something which I see significantly improve people's sleep, and that is the first little tool that I've got in my sleep toolbox here, and that is these. And these are blue light blocking glasses. Now, these essentially are going to do exactly what they say on the tin. They're going to actually block out all of the blue light transmissions that we're going to get from things such as television screens, phones, laptops, etc, etc. One of the main issues with common culture is that we are more and more dependent on that artificial lighting that we're going to get from screens and things like that late into the night. I speak to a client about their evening setup. A lot of the people are sitting there like this on the phone, scrolling, and then immediately going to bed. So one of the main problems with this artificial artificial blue light that we're going to be receiving from these devices is that it's just going to hammer the metabolic pathway of melatonin. Now you may have heard of melatonin, it's the sleepy hormone. This is going to help us to reach the deeper stages of sleep. So we've got rapid eye movement, which is where we actually cognitively recover, and it's called this because this is where your eyes will rapidly move. The body is actually paralyzed in this stage of sleep, and ideally we want to be aiming for about 20 to 25% of our sleep being this rapid eye movement. The body's paralyzed because this is where we actually dream, and this is to ensure that we're not acting those dreams out. So the musculoskeletal system is actually completely paralyzed. There's a very small fraction of people who don't have this mechanism, and they obviously sleepwalk. So that's where you get sleepwalkers from. Wearing the glasses is essentially just going to allow you to watch all your screens to your heart's content, because I personally like a bit of Netflix in the evening, I like a nice series that I can just switch off, get some escapism and relax. Now I know that wearing these is just going to enable me to watch that till my heart's content. I'm not going to have any issues. So these are from Raw Optics. These are about $120. These are probably one of the best you can get on the market, but you can spend about £20. Like anything, whatever you spend, the better quality. This is a fantastic supplement. Now, I won't go into the panel and bore you, but the panel on here is going to be one of the best dosed panels you can get on the market. Now, what this is essentially going to do is it's going to do it as in a tin. It's going to prime you for that PM window. So this is a cortisol management supplement. Now, I'll take this about an hour and a half before I'm going to bed, and that will immediately just help me transition into that parasympathetic nervous state, which is rest and digest. This is going to put the body, the mind in a position where it can produce those hormones and essentially set ourselves up for a good sleep. So I'll take that 90 minutes before I go to bed. Blue light blocking glasses are on from about 7 p.m. Another supplement I take is Support Max Neuro. Now this is actually very similar to the PM Prime and Stack, but this is one that I would take post-training. So I finish my training session on a training day about 6-7 p.m. I'll do a big scoop of this. It's gonna help me flick the switch, if you like, from that high-stressed environment of training into feeling more relaxed and being able to switch off and actually putting the body and the gastrointestinal system in a less compromised position to start digesting and absorbing nutrients. So this is a really good stuff to take post-training. So we take this, and then obviously the PM Prime and Stack I take about 90 minutes before bed. Now the final supplement I take to aid sleep is the Sleep Stack. And again, this is from Smart Subs. Now the Sleep Stack is without a shadow of doubt the best sleep supplement on the market. Again, very, very highly dosed and correctly and accurately dosed in terms of the ingredients. This is a supplement that as soon as I run out, I can feel my sleep is not as good. This is something that if you can budget it in, I would definitely advise taking. So those are the supplements that I take. Now again, supplements are just going to help polish off an already very refined pre-sleeping habit. If you're not adhering to any sort of pre-bed routine and you're just hammering supplements, you're not going to do a great deal. Now the final thing is your actual sleep setup itself. So obviously we've talked about the bed. The temperature of your room is going to be really important. So making sure it's not too hot, not too cold. Now this is going to be subjective to each individual, but it's recommended that the ideal temperature for a room is between 17 and 19 degrees. So you can look at your thermometer, you can gauge that. Do you need to open a window? It doesn't have to be exact. Again, it's going to be more person specific, but just getting that right temperature is going to be really important. I'll have a hot shower or a bath. Now, if it's after a leg day or a big RDL session or something like that, I'll have a hot bath in the evening, some magnesium bath salts as well. Temperature of the water is going to help the muscles just relax and switch off. So I always recommend as hot as you can handle. Don't burn yourself, as hot as you can handle. That's going to help the muscles to switch off and basically relax. A few things we can do just to remove any external stimuli and help the body relax. So we've got the eye mask here. So this is something that I will wear all the time, just in case there's any light creeping through from anywhere. There were some studies, and I won't bore you with the exact statistics, but some studies showed that even something as small as a little blue light from a skybox hammered someone's deep sleep or hammered their REM sleep. So just blocking out any external stimuli with the eye mask is going to be a really beneficial way of ensuring that it's completely black. Then I will also wear these nasal strips. These are going to help quite significantly, just opening up and dilating the nasal passage, which is again going to help you breathe your nose, which is going to encourage PNS, rest and digest. Now this always makes me laugh because there's a meme that a client sent to me once, and it's me down to a T. And it's basically, I'll see if I can find it and put it on the screen, but it's a meme saying, someone told me lavender would help me relax, and then they're just lying there just covered in lavender, and that's basically me. I have lavender candles, I have lavender scents, lavender spray. This is fantastic. I got this from Amazon. It's just from Amazon. It's one of the ones which had the better ratings. Spray the pillow up. The smell of lavender is basically proven to help promote, again, PNS, relaxation, and promote sleep. So that's just kind of, again, the final cherry on the cake. So just to recap, going out and buying yourself some lavender spray and spraying it on your pillow when you're highly stressed, you're not relaxing in the evening, you're working till late, you're being exposed to artificial stimulation, it's going to do nothing. But if you're nailing all of these things, if you're having this cut-off point, if you're relaxing, unwinding, hot shower, right environment, right bed, etc., all these little things are just going to give you another 2%. And what I've found is this routine that I've established over time, for me it works. For me, 9 times out of 10 my sleep will be fantastic, and if it isn't, I know that I potentially just need to take an extra rest day or just take it a little bit easy the next day. So that's sleep, guys. Hopefully that's helped a little bit. I could literally, as you've probably imagined, talk about sleep all day long, so hopefully I haven't bored you. If you've made it to the end, fantastic. If anyone does have any questions with regard to that, please do feel free to just drop them in the comments box below. As always, guys, if anyone has any comments, anything they'd like to suggest, anything you'd like to see in the further videos, please do feel free to drop them in the box below. Really enjoying the support from everyone so far. If you do like my content, please do feel free to drop me a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.